wherever you are today, I just wanted to talk to you about listening. Listening is a valuable tool for leaders, and it's one of those things that I learned, and it's been a valuable resource for me to recognize. And sometimes I catch myself, not doing as I should. So I'm always and constantly improving and growing in terms of being a better listener so that I could be an effective and a great leader that I intend to be. So listening is one of the most valuable tools a leader has in his or her tool belt. Unfortunately, the busier we are and the higher we climb in the organization, the more difficult it becomes to listen. Isn't it so true? You run your own business and it's crazy, and oftentimes we forget to listen to those people who are helping us to get to our next steps to reach to our goals. But it's so important that we stay in tune and stay listening to those so that we can be a better and greater leaders. I love Ralph Waldo Emerson's attitude. Here's what his quote says: "Every man I meet is in some way my superior, and I can learn from him." The most influential leaders share this humble perspective and in turn never stop growing. Wow. So if I want to be a good leader, a great leader, I need to recognize that everyone has something to say and everyone can contribute in some way or the other. So I need to step back and listen. Great lesson there. Are you a good listener? Am I a good listener? If we're going to lead, we need to be good listeners. A 2018 article from Harvard Business Review states, managers who listen well are perceived as people leaders, generate more trust, instill higher job satisfaction, and increase their team's creativity. If you want to lead, you've got to use your ears. Have you heard the saying? I know my mom always told me, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means you speak less and listen more. Wow. So how do we become better listeners? In his book, Becoming a Person of Influence, John Maxwell offers 9 suggestions that have helped him become a better listener. And I believe they can help you too. Number 1, most important, look at the speaker. That eye contact, I tell you, makes a world of difference. Have you been talk to someone and they're just shifting their eyes all over the place? What does that tell you? They're not focused in on you. They have other things that's going on they're not that interested in you. They don't care that much. Those are the things that come to your mind. So it's so important for us to get that eye contact. It may sound so simple, but it's absolutely the first step to effective listening. Don't shuffle through papers like that, or you pick up your cell phone and go through it, paying attention to the phone, to the whatever messages are coming on, or social media. That is just distracting and disrespectful when someone is talking. Make that eye contact and lean in, listening with that, so that they know that you're deeply and intently interested into what they're saying. So, number 1, look at the speaker. Stay focused, give them that eye contact, and connect. Let them know how much you care about what they're saying. Number 2, don't interrupt. I've been guilty of that several times, but I'm getting better, and I've gotten so much better than the way I used to be. It is important to give people the time they need to express themselves. It's even okay to allow for periods of silence. Reflecting, and then be able to answer or make your thoughts based on what that person had communicated to you earlier. Don't be afraid of that. It can be very difficult for people to communicate what they're trying to say if they're fearful of being interpreted. So step back, listen. Don't focus on what you're going to say. Focus in on what the person is communicating to you. And remember, do not interrupt. Now on to number 3. Focus on understanding. The best listeners aren't the best because they can remember facts about what was said. They're the best because they understand the purpose and meaning of what was said. As Stephen Covey said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. I will say that again. Stephen Covey said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Wow, that's deep. Number 4, determine the need. People talk for so many different reasons. And oftentimes, these reasons are different from what you expect. That's why it's so important to understand the current need of the speaker. This context will help you to fully engage as the listener. So what is the need of the person, the speaker, the person who's communicating to you? What are their needs? What is it that they're going to require from you? Try to determine that need so that you could fully engage and respond to that need. Number 5, check your emotions. Wow. Oftentimes we get into a conversation, we're communicating with one of our team members or project lead, someone in charge of project for you, and we are coming in with these emotions. How about setting those aside? Just like baggage at an airport, when it comes to listening, your emotions will slow you down in getting to the desired destination. In certain situations, if you know that you might have an emotional reaction to what another person is saying, take a step back and check your emotions. Check it and let it stay where it is. Zip it up. Put it away in the baggage department. Come in with new focus, new eyes, so that you could zoom in on what that person, the speaker, is saying to you. This will totally help you focus on listening until they're finished speaking. Number 6, suspend your judgment. You can't jump to conclusions and be a good listener at the same time. Think about it. If I've already come to the conclusion, then more than likely there's no point in me listening, right? So don't come to any conclusions. Do your best to wait to hear the other person's full story or perspective before you judge what they mean. Hear out the entire conversation, and then you can come to your conclusions. No conclusions until the person has completed their conversation, okay? Awesome. Number 7, sum up at major intervals. I love this one. It has helped me so much in my listening, especially as a coach. This has worked really well for me to let my coachee know that I totally get what they're saying, and to review what they just said for their benefit as well. When the speaker finishes one primary thought or subject, try to sum up his or her main points before going on to the next one. For example, you could say, Sandra, here's what I heard you say. Is this what you just said? What I heard you just say was. This will help you understand the speaker's message, and you will also communicate respect for the speaker. Then again, leaning in and letting them know, yes, I do care about what you're saying. So let me review to make sure that I'm getting the clear understanding of what you're saying. Number 8, ask questions for clarity. And this is a good one. You know, asking questions is so important. Watch the best reporters on TV and study the way they ask effective questions to help move the conversation along. There's an art to gentle asking clarifying questions, and the best listeners have mastered it. A good question would be, what do you mean by? How does so-and-so relate to that? Could you explain it in another way? Okay, could you tell me more? What is the end goal? Just a few questions that we could ask for clarity. There's an art to gentle asking clarifying questions. We need to definitely be able to become better listeners by mastering asking these great questions. Number 9, always make listening your priority. There's a great story about Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart. During the height of his career, as the story goes, Walton was flying plane to Mount Pleasant, Texas, and decided to land 100 miles away from his destination, just so he could spend extra time riding in a Walmart truck and listening to the driver. Walton was not too busy or too big to make time for listening. Walton was the CEO of that large organization, Walmart, that we now know. So think about it. He took that special time to stop and take a ride with one of his truck drivers to get a better understanding. Wow. How much so us? Whether we're the CEO, the project manager, the CFO, the account manager, whatever our titles are, let's take time to listen so that we could become better and greater leaders in whatever our organization is. Most people are able to hear, but few are able to listen. I want to encourage you. Commit yourself to listening. Maybe for you, the first step is to schedule a listening occasion. Set aside 1 hour this week with the most important person in your life for the sole purpose of listening to them. Give them your full attention and spend less than 1/3 of the time talking. Wow. I did that recently with my husband. Normally, we get so busy with our lives, but just scheduling that 1 hour just to focus in, and he was so appreciative that I took that special time to just spend no phones, no distractions, just to lean in and listen. Me not talking that much, but just listening and finding out how things were going and what was his next where he was heading in the direction he was going. And he was so satisfied that I had made that extra step. So how do you can do that just leaning into someone close to you, just setting aside that special listening occasion and making it special. We need to do that more, not only for our business as entrepreneurs, but for our personal lives as well. As we develop our listening ability, you will be amazed at the value it adds to your leadership. Keep on listening, and I look forward to seeing you, sharing more with you, and serving. Have a great day, a great week. All the best.